Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another Warzone video. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how you can win more gunfights, be more of an effective team player, and then just come out of Verdansk with a few more wins than normal. Now, the stuff in this video is going to be a little bit more overview type stuff, like what I did right, what I did wrong, what my teammates did right, what my teammates did wrong. I feel like if I just put all the rights in there, then no one would really learn from the situations at hand. So this way, you can kind of see a little bit both sides. So make sure you guys stay tuned until the end. I also wanted to make this in a format where it's not absolutely insane, so that you guys can actually bring this back, incorporate it into your own gameplays, or bring it back to your own team, so that it actually makes sense and you get some use out of this video. So if this video does help you in any way, or you did learn something new, be sure to smash that like button. It really helps out the channel and helps us keep growing the army. Now with that, let's get right into it. During this fight right here, we see that we pop the kid inside. We go and push over. We see him behind the desk. He's pushing towards us, so we immediately get behind this trash can as cover. This does two things for us. It makes this shot on me insanely hard, so he's going to have to swing or he's going to have to take a headshot. It's all about you don't want to be giving people 50-50s. If you're giving someone an easy free kill, you're doing something wrong. So we wanted to get behind that trash can just to give us that extra cover, and we cleaned up a really easy kill there. So as you can see, we're pushing towards this bounty now. Now, this is going to be a really chaotic situation, so I want you guys to pay attention closely. Pause the video, rewind the video if you need to. So I'm going to highlight a couple things we did right and quite a few things that we did wrong, but we actually ended up staying alive out at the end of it, and it's just due to some of the very quick decision thinking that happened during this. So we see this guy here, we pop him, we see him move to the left, we know bounty's in front of us. So what we're going to do is, instead of pushing directly into this building, because pushing buildings inside them is just basically a massive death trap. You're going to get caught off guard. There could be one or two more people in there. Granted, we're playing duos now, but if you're in squads, there could be a person in every single room. It's just a very dangerous situation. So we get pegged from up top. So now we're just going to kind of abandon this building and see kind of what's going on with that. We don't want to go too far, but we also want to check, make sure that we're aware of this area over here. So as you can see, I'm separating myself from that building, but I don't just run over here immediately, because those people can jump out of that building and chow us at any given time. Right here, I get a Swiss K31 out of the box, so I'm like, okay, well, I can actually challenge this sniper here since I have a sniper now. Challenging it with an AR is actually incredibly stupid and a really good way to get yourself killed. I get pegged right here because I don't see this kid up at the top in this top window, because console life, it absolutely sucks. We're working on getting a PC as soon as possible for you guys. So take a couple shots at him. That second shot was actually extremely risky, and I could have had my head sniped off. I want to open this door really quickly just to grab their attention and throw off their timing. And as you can tell, it threw it off, but then I tried to chow a sniper with an AR, which, like I just said, was incredibly stupid. So I go down. Now, we should actually lose the game right here if either of these teams were decent, because they would see that we are now in a third-party situation. This bounty could have pushed us. They could have pushed us. It could have ended really badly. That could have been the game right there. So that's what you have to focus on, is making little simple mistakes can potentially cost you your entire game. But luckily, it didn't. So you'll notice this a lot in Verdansk. You'll be making these little micro bad decisions, and it could potentially ruin your entire day, or you could get away with it a lot. It depends. So we see that kid on the back. We go and chow him. Couldn't get in the window for the immediate push, and that's the important part. If we would have gotten the window right away, that would have been a really easy push. However, since that failed, notice we're staying on the outside of this building. We're not pushing in there. Once you have a couple seconds and he has plates, that's a bad idea. So we drop this kid down on the corner, and I notice his teammate, and his teammate's pushed up. So we get in the building for cover. We just don't immediately go and look for him, right? So now we have a little bit of cover. We're trying to look for him. That is actually extremely risky when we jump out the window, but it has to be done. You have to stay in people's faces. And as you can tell, he beams me in the back, but he absolutely is god-awful at the game. So we were able to pick up a really easy kill there. Now we're getting shot at from the hill. Now this is very important. As soon as that shot came down from the hill, we know this bounty is still in this building. We should have dipped immediately. But sometimes you're very thirsty for kills because you ego people. And this is exactly what happens. So I get shot at a really weird angle. Thankfully, I can crawl back. Now, granted, I knew that was going to happen, but I also knew we had this whole hill as cover. Notice as soon as I make the mistake that I kind of predict, I'm immediately out of there. So sometimes you can play things in a way where you're like, this is probably not going to end well, but I have a really easy escape route, and I could have been rezzed and pushed out of there by the time they even got to us. So you can take risks here and there, and it's really fun to take risks here and there, especially if they're weighted in your favor, because that's how you're going to get more kills, and you're just going to get more experience overall out of the game by doing things like this. So now we notice that there's a Bertha pulling up, and we throw some really bad Simtexes at it. But if we were good at throwing Simtexes, I probably would have screwed their day up. But luckily, my gun skill is actually better than my Simtex skill, so we were able to knock the kid in the back. Now, keep in mind, I'm watching this Bertha on the minimap the whole time. I see my teammate shooting, so I pop around this corner and drop this kid. Still keeping an eye on the Bertha. However, I'm wrapping wide around this building because I know his teammate is probably behind it or to my left. So it gives me options, and yet I'm using this fence as cover to clear behind the building, and it was an easy pickup from there. If you would have just pushed directly and stayed really close to the building edge right there, it would have been really easy for his teammate to just be camping that, have no cover whatsoever, and force a 50-50. Right here, this is incredibly dangerous, going up zip lines on top of buildings. I almost never recommend it unless you know that the building top is relatively clear. If someone's shooting down from you at airport, don't really ever go up that zip unless you have a bunch of people coming up and you know that you're potentially just going to overpower them. So there we hear the res, so we go ahead and jump that kid. We notice this kid over here, he's using cover. He's actually playing smart, but we crack him. So as soon as you crack someone, you want to be in their face as fast as possible. And then notice it was an easy cleanup because my teammate got there even faster than I did. And then once that happened, that other kid was focusing him. So even if he downed my teammate, it still would have been a super easy cleanup for us. You don't really want to be overly hyper aggressive going into the initial part of the fight, but you want to carry that aggression through the fight. So if you just go full haywire into a fight, that's going to catch a lot of people off guard a lot of the times, but you want to be cautious. You want to, like, when we're coming up to this building, we're being cautious. We don't exactly know if there's people on top of the building yet. We don't really know what's going on. Now we get an indicator, so we get it pinged and all that, and now we know someone's up there. But prior to this, running up to this building, we had no idea. Once we see the pings, we ping it, and then we start climbing up. This right here is incredibly stupid, what I did, because now I'm up here making noise, and my teammate has dead silence, so it completely negates the effects of dead silence. We get up here, he actually gets a kill off of it, so I immediately slide around this corner for cover. What I'm covering here is my teammate, because he just got into a fight. So he's got to reload. He's got to do things. Sometimes they have to plate. So that second person, you want to find them as fast as possible to take that pressure off of your teammate and put it on yourself. It's still a 50-50, but playing hyper aggressive like I did right there, sliding around the corner and shooting at the same time. People don't really expect people to be that aggressive. You got to remember, majority of the people in Warzone are actually a lower level at the game. So you just remember that when you're playing, you have to play with confidence. That was the biggest thing that has helped me progress in this game more than anything, is just confidence. So if you're a 1 KD under, just make sure you're playing with a ton of confidence and really gunning after those kills. From here, we pop a UAV. We want to see what's going around us, right? So we're not really sure what's going around us, so we want to find something to do. You're always going to want to stay busy, whether it's getting bounties or getting UAVs up in the air. So the more knowledge you have, the better, right? So we're positioned extremely well in this zone right now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wait here. We're not going to force out and go after anyone, because that could be able to put us in a really bad situation as far as endgame is concerned. So you just really want to hold on to your ground. If you have a good position in endgame, you're basically going to want to stick with that until you decide to see where the zone's going to go. There's no sense in overthinking it or over-rushing it. Throughout the game, I would say when you're picking fights, you want to play hyper aggressive up to about 40 people left. So you're just going after everything. And then after that 40 player mark, you just kind of want to slow it down, start looking at positioning, because positioning towards the end of the game and as zones collapsing is a lot more important for you guys to be winning those gunfights than it is chasing after people. That's a big thing that a lot of players mess up. They just go kill hungry the entire game. And now that does work because it thins out the lobby quite a bit. But when it comes to end game, if you're on the back of the zone, someone's positioned up in a good spot already, it puts you at an extreme disadvantage. Like this kid right here, he's out in the open. There's a big field around us. Pretty much anything that contests us right here is just getting beamed. That kid just felt the wrath of it as he was coming down. So from here, we're looking at people with the precision, because you get that magnified view. It just is a little bit easier to ping things and look for things here and there. We notice this car coming around, put some shots on it, but notice how we're kind of staying by this wall just in case that car wanted to charge us, to where we have an escape route all the time. You never really want to be doing something unless you have an exit in your head. If I was just open in the middle of the field and that car wanted to charge me, I would be dead, because it would be me side jumping the car, which just means he's really bad at driving. Pretty much. So you don't ever want to put yourself in that situation. Right here, we precision this oil tank. I'm trying to get him off of it. I wanted to go for a potentially easy kill. As you see, we're potatoing shots on this kid like crazy, because I'm still using the AMAX in this video. Currently, we're using the FARA. It's an absolute beam. If I had the FARA right here, this kid would have been deleted. See my teammate putting shots on him, and then I'm putting shots on him. Notice me and my teammate are not right next to each other. We're not on the same head glitch. We're basically spread out so we can get some more angles on these kids. This is a big building. The more angles and the more exposure you can get on the side angles of that rock, the better. Because then he has less room to wiggle. And what I mean by that is laying prone and putting on plates and things like that. However, I notice that zone's moving in. So what I'm going to do, instead of being up here playing scared, like, oh, no one knows my position, I got power, and there's no way people are going to think anyone's here, right? Like, I already know people know I'm here. I know people are going to think I'm here. So I'm contesting this on hill, and here in just a second, I'm going to flip around. I'm going to start putting pressure right here on these kids coming in from zone. The more of these people that you thin out, the absolute easier your life is going to be. They have to worry about zone. They have to worry about me. And if I peg them up, you know, and we put some work in on them, then that zone's going to be pushing in. They're going to have no choice but to leave cover. At that point, it's basically just a free wipe, because they don't have any more options. That's why I'm saying, guys, when you're playing these gunfights, you want to be thinking about your options. You want to be thinking about your enemy's options, and basically widening your options while shortening theirs as much as possible. That's what it's going to make these fights a lot easier for you, because it's not so much that you don't have the mechanical skill to be winning these fights. A lot of it really does come down to positioning, how you handle building fights and coming up to a building, and what you do during those fights is what's going to win you the fight, not so much putting shots on target. However, if you guys can't put any shots on target, then you need to be playing with your sensitivity. You need to be doing something about that, changing your gun classes, something. So as you can see, we get clustered. I get a little dangerous right here, trying to run towards the cluster. I know this guy's still pinned on the wall. He is in a horrible situation because this zone's coming in, and now he's in gas. There's nothing he can do, but I'm getting pressured from hill. So he almost got away for the most part, or he did get away. Okay. But we put an immense amount of pressure on him coming into this zone. We did not make it free. And as you can tell, the lobby's already thinned down to 12 people because we're putting those shots down. People know that we're a threat. People are trying to take alternate routes into zone, taking more zone damage. That's more plates off their character. Now, this is something that I actually wanted to leave in the video. It's a big mistake by my teammate, but I feel like this is important for you guys to grow as a player. I'm not perfect. I don't think any of you guys are perfect. The pros aren't perfect. We all make mistakes, and I feel like you guys can learn from mistakes heavily. And I feel like not a lot of people really show them on YouTube. So I'm jumping down here. We know that there's a kid in this building under us, and I'm wanting to create distance, right? So we're going to go corkscrew this zone edge because we know there's people up top, and yet we also know that there's people in that building. So I want distance from both of those. The distance is because you want more of a reason for people to third party. You want them to fight, not you. And in turn, my teammate was slow getting off the top, so I couldn't effectively clear the area that I was running towards, and I had to snap around and help him. And since we couldn't effectively clear that area faster, it ended up getting us shot in the back. Now, if this video did help you at all, please give it a thumbs up. Really helps the video. Like I said, subscribe if you're new and you want more Warzone tips and tricks content, or Warzone content in general. And with all that, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.